Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights, especially since I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade. They wanted it ended. My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land. In this case, the law of the state.
Donald Trump's recent statements about abortion and his statement in shooting down efforts to create these laws that would have a nationwide ban on abortion has led to some headlines that the Biden camp is not too pleased about. So they're pressuring editors to basically change those headlines to framing that they favor. Now, how did they do this? Well, through a press conference call, where Biden camp Deputy Communications Director Brooke Gorin targeted a particular headline that was written by USA Today. Let's listen.
Trump kept his word to overturn Roe in his last term, and he will not rest until he has banned abortion across the entire country, period. We all know this, and the coverage needs to reflect it. Yet today, we're still reading headlines that say Trump, quote, declines to endorse a national abortion ban, that Trump, quote, rebuffed pressure to the campaign on a national limit, that Trump, quote, decided to punt the politically fraught issue to the states and not back a national abortion ban. One particularly egregiously false headline even said Trump, quote, opposes a national abortion ban and will leave it up to the, quote, the will of the people. Trump didn't decline anything. All he did was take credit again for the nightmare he created. That's the news that's important here. We cannot and we will not give Trump a free pass when every single day women's lives in this country are on the line because of what Trump did to take away our right to make our own healthcare decisions.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
So she listed some of the headlines that she took issue with, that the Biden camp took issue with. One of them, the one that was noted to be particularly egregious, was a USA Today headline. Here's what it originally read. The will of the people, Trump opposes national abortion ban, says states should decide. Well, after the press conference call with the Biden camp, USA Today ended up changing the headline. So let's go to the new one. Donald Trump says states should decide abortion policy, avoids talk of a national ban. Now, look, I like the newer headline, okay, I do. I think it's a better headline. However, that's not the question. The question of what I like and don't like doesn't matter. The focus of this discussion should be, should politicians pressure the press to edit the way that they frame the news or report the news? That's what I kind of take issue with here.
Yeah, well, look, I think, I'm glad that you agree. I wasn't sure if you were going to. The second one is far more accurate.
Yeah, it's better.
Because he didn't oppose it in the first, like now he's coming out more recently and saying he actually opposed it. That is not what he said in the original thing.
Correct, yes.
He declined to say a whole bunch of incredibly important stuff. So this is more accurate. I mean, she's the communications director. Arguably, this is, I guess, the sort of thing that they do. I don't love the idea of them calling up outlets.
Yeah.
It seems like, you do the messaging and you get the headlines that you get. But I don't know, everybody does this, not just politicians. Celebrities are constantly like getting the headlines they want and things. I don't like any of it because we don't do anything like that. But yeah, I'm not too shocked by it. That said, I wouldn't like it if Trump's team was doing it. So I guess to be consistent.
Yeah, I mean, look, I found Trump's treatment of the press when he was president and when he was campaigning in 2015, 2016 in particular, to be disgusting, right? I saw it as a form of intimidation. He would literally point out journalists during his rally and direct all sorts of like hatred toward them, jeers toward them. And I just, if I found that to be, inappropriate behavior, I should feel the same way if politicians that I typically agree with do the same thing or apply pressure on journalists or editors to change the framing of their reporting, even if I agree with what they're saying. Like, again, I do agree that the newer headline is more accurate, it is better. And USA Today shouldn't have needed pressure from the Biden camp to write a better headline. That said, I don't like politicians in particular pressuring the press to change the way they do their jobs. Sure. Celebrities is one thing, but the federal government should not be involved in tailoring coverage of political events in the country.
Yeah, as a general principle, I do agree. What the different things you described can be held together as a consistent worldview. I think this is at the very far end of the spectrum. Like, pressure on an outlet can come in a lot of different forms. If it's that woman calling up and being like, your headline's garbage or whatever, and they change it, probably because they realize that it is kind of garbage, then that's one thing. If Biden all of a sudden like comes up and gives a speech about how, maybe we need to tighten some laws around USA Today or something, like that is much more like what Trump does. And I think that would be a totally different thing. There's no hint of like, it's pressure in that they called. It's not pressure in that they're threatening to take away their licenses or something like that, which is the more akin to what we experienced under Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, Trump was definitely more extreme. I'll give you an example. Trump, the candidate, also blacklisted reporters and entire news outlets from campaign events. I find that gross. Referred to journalists as scum and slime and mocked a reporter for having a disability. Trump also threatened a lawsuit against a Hispanic journalist group for calling out his bigoted remarks. So, punishing reporters and revoking their ability to cover your events, cover your rallies, cover your campaign stops as punishment obviously goes much further than what I'm seeing from Biden. But look, to be honest with you guys, I hold Democrats to a higher standard, no? I just do. And so I don't think that it's right for Biden's camp to try to affect the framing and reporting of the election, of political events, and of his campaign.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying. And look, people like to look down their noses at slippery slope arguments. I'm gonna make a slippery slope argument. This kind of stuff is a slippery slope. I had a problem with, after the fact, finding out that the New York Post reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop was not fraudulent, was not false. But it was totally censored from Twitter because the Biden camp claimed that it was Russian propaganda without any evidence to back that up. And I bought into that at the time. That was totally inappropriate, and I think that it ended up actually causing more harm than good. Let the reporting go out there and you fight that speech, you fight that reporting with more speech, with counter reporting.
Sure.
That's all.
Yeah, I agree far more with the general principle that you're advocating for, consistency, something that you believe in, that you will never ever be rewarded for. I do agree with that more than if there's a headline that is literally inaccurate. There's another way to put it is, do you not have an obligation as a campaign to make sure that the media is not being inaccurate in their headlines? Again, for me, it's all about, is this just a call or an email? Is this pressure? Is this pervasive? Do we see the USA Today banned from a Biden speech? Like, almost any step beyond what they did, I would probably consider to be crossing a line. For me though, they were like maybe accidentally sort of like doing PR for Trump by mischaracterizing what he said. So,
well,
yeah, but I agree on the general principle.
Let's also, listen, I personally don't care because I look at these, White House press conferences as a giant waste of time. But did TYT get approved for credentials to go to White House pressers?
No, we're being censored.
What do you think that was about? Could it be that we're critical of the Democratic Party and the Biden administration, and they're not really interested in answering any of our questions?
It's entirely possible. I mean, you're talking about like White House, like the actual press briefings?
Yeah, where Karine Jean-Pierre fumbles like crazy in answering incredibly easy questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's some sort of cutoff. I would assume that we should be on the right side of that cutoff. Obviously, they're not gonna let literally any show on or whatever. But yes, you raise a good point.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.